Hi guys, Lawrence from BJJstrength.com. Today I wanted to give you a collection of exercises that I regularly use to mobilize the hips and put it together in one flow that you can use 2 or 3 times a week to really help loosen up those hips, keep them healthy and keep you supple when you're fighting jiu-jitsu. And it's going to target the hip flexor, it's going to target the hamstrings, it's going to target the glutes, so the main muscles that impact mobility of the hip, and also it's going to stretch within the groin as well, but more importantly move the hip joint through a full range of motion in a couple of different positions, which is, it's all well and good stretching out the muscles, but you've really got to move that joint to its full range of motion to really have good mobility and good flexibility. So let's get to it. So the very first stretch is what I call a frog squat. So the inside of my foot is flat to the floor. Try and get my heel as close to the floor as I can and my big toe touching, and I'm going to rock backwards, trying to keep good posture. And I'm going to do this about 20 times, and you're going to feel that stretch on the inside of the groin, and then try and increase that range of motion as you go. So you're going to do that about 20 times. Really good stretch. Next, let's move on to the glutes. So I'm going to get my lead leg, and I want to keep my lead leg parallel to my hips. I want to keep good posture, and I'm trying to bring my right hip, in this case, to the floor. I'm not leaning to this side, and I'm trying to square up, and I want to hold this for 5 breaths. That's good, deep long breaths. On the out breath, just sink into the stretch a little bit more. And I'm going to switch to the other side and do the same thing. Make sure this leg stays parallel and really trying to bring this hip to the floor. You should feel it all down here. Do that about 5 times for about 5 breaths. Then I'm going to set up in this position, and I'm going to switch from side to side. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Then I'm going to come straight into this position, and I'm going to rotate my knee, trying to touch it on the floor, almost next to my other foot. But importantly, the leg that's not moving, I want to keep it pointing to the ceiling. I don't want to do this. This kills the stretch. It's not going to work. This is wrong. Keep that knee pointing up. There you go. Drive it in, and you should feel it on the outside right here. And when you're doing this, focus on the breathing. Nice and steady and controlled and through the nose. Okay, now from here, I'm going to come, bring the feet together, nice posture up, relax the upper body, and just drive the knees down to the floor. Relax the shoulders, and we'll hold this for 5 breaths. Okay, next we're going to go into a variation of the cossack squat. So I'm going to start, my feet are quite a bit wider than shoulder width apart. I'm going to drop down into a cossack squat. I'm keeping my heel on the floor. A lot of people do this. Again, this kills the stretch. Keep the heel on the floor, come down into this position. I'm going to rotate outwards, try and point those toes to the floor, come down, and I'm going to twist, put my hands on the floor, posture up, and drive my glute forward, so I'm stretching the hip. And then from there, I'm going to sink down and try and get my inside elbow to the floor. I'm going to come back up and I'm going to repeat it on the other side. Again, my heel is on the floor, toes pointing up, should really feel that on the hamstring and inside the thigh. Then I'm going to come here. I've got a toe injury, so I'm going to put my foot down. I'm driving through the glute, and then I'm trying to sink down and bring my elbow to the floor. I'm going to come back up, repeat it on the other side. You can see it's working because I'm getting a little bit deeper each time. Drive the hip forward, posture up, and sink that elbow in. Come back up, switch back to the other side. Twist around. Again, my toe injury, so I'm going to put the top of my foot on the floor, which is not a bad thing really. Drive that forward, the hip forward, then bring the elbow to the ground. Now for the purpose of this video, I'm going to shorten it, but normally I would do that 5 times each side. I don't want to bore you, so we'll just do twice each side. But then straight away from there, I'm going to go into a goblet squat. I'm going to sink down as low as I can, and I'm going to get my hands palms together if you need to, or you can just do this. And then I'm going to drive out with the elbows, and I'm going to do this 10 to 15 times. Then from here, I'm going to raise my hips up a little bit and drive my knee to the floor. Really similar to the motion we were doing when we were sitting down. I'm going to do this 10 times in total. Okay. And then lastly, this is going to stretch the hips a little bit, but more. We've been doing a lot of hunching over with a lot of these exercises, so now we just want to open up the front of the body. So we're going to do a Cobra stretch. Top of the feet on the floor, feet together, and try not to allow your knees or your hips to hit the floor, and then keep your chin tucked. Try not to do this and drive those hips into the floor, and we're going to hold this for 5 breaths. Relax. So a nice good one to finish off. Open up the front of the body, because a lot of those exercises involve squatting down, so I think it's a good way to rebalance. But some great exercises there. Even as I just go through this routine, I could feel my hips loosen up. They already feel a lot better. Great thing to do when you finish the class, or when you get home. A lot of us jump in the car after training. We're in this position, everything stiffens up again, and you know, when you get home, loosen those hips up again, and that's really going to make a big difference. You can do this every day if you wanted, but at least 2 or 3 times a week, and it's really going to help with that hip mobility. I hope you enjoyed this, guys. Thanks for watching.